adherence to the law. This is all about realizing that the internal auditor is all realizing that we have to implement audit recommendations that are given. I'm aware, members, you churn out a lot of recommendations to the 6 committees of Parliament. Are they being followed? That is what I've been doing under the executive, to make sure that the questions that come from Parliament, the recommendations that are given by Parliament, are implemented by the executive arm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for the elaborate introduction, your experience and qualifications, and what you've been able to achieve. I'll now allow members to field questions. We'll just take a few, and you must be armed with a paper and a pen so that you can note the questions that will come from the committee members. Honorable Engineer Zambia.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Just for the sake of introduction, you've talked of an accountant. Are you CPAK?
I'm a fellow, Chair, I'm a fellow of the Institute of Certified Public Accountant of Kenya. Being a fellow means you are already a member of that institute, and you are recognized for the outstanding performance, for the outstanding contributions to the institute. That is why I'm a fellow of the institute.
Any other question? Engineer Zambia?
I just need clarification. Not too much details. Are you CPAK, yes or no?
Yes, yes, Honorable Member, I am.
Honorable Wario.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the Daktari for courage. In her last statement, she said she is ready to implement what the executive proposes. Is she going to implement the wrong decisions maybe by the executive if once directed? Also, Chair, there is a report of Parliament on the public lands, especially the ADC. The resolution by Parliament for the NLC to implement. Is she going to advocate for the implementation? Because Parliament, once it passes, it's a law. So are you going to implement what Parliament approves on behalf of the people of Kenya? Thank you.
We'll just take a few, and then you'll respond. Is Honorable Ashaka Wario. Okay? So that question is from him. Madam Irene, Honorable Irene Bahati.
Thank you, Chair. And I must admit that I am proud of the nominee for that achievement of being a fellow and being a lady. Of course, I'm also very proud of her. But I have 2 questions. One, somewhere I have seen that you had sued your employer. I don't know whether I am wrong, but I've seen somewhere that you had sued your employer. While you were suing your employer, you had not realized that your contract had expired, so that you could take mitigation, you could do mitigation measures before. And secondly, relating to your assignment that you are going to get at NLC, there are so many irregular allocations of land, which of course belong to the public. But I don't know whether you'd be in a position right now to highlight to us what role will you play, especially because I have heard from your CV that you came up with a slogan, Piganduru. At some point I was actually confused because I know one person who says Piganduru, but I think you are very conversant with that. So how will you Piganduru here in NLC?
Will you switch off your mic, and Madam Susan? Daktari Gideon Ochanda.
Thanks, Chair. Just a general short comment on how judiciary has been handling land matters. It's just a general experience on judiciary and issues of land. And then the second one is in judiciary, if you take, for example, this year, they are handling a budget of 26 or so billion shillings. NLC is handling a budget of under 4 billion shillings. How will you look at that in relation to your performance?
I'm mentioning their names so that you don't lose the question.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Katana.
Thank you, Chair. Madam Nominee, you have painted a very good picture on your achievement at the judiciary. But Kenyans are still suffering within the judiciary, that they're not getting justice. Their cases have taken too long to be concluded. And to an extent, it is who, because I'm giving you an example in my area, Kilifi. A lot of our people, when it comes to matters of land, when they go to court, they always lose their cases against some very influential people who tend to grab their land. Now that you have been nominated to NLC, how will you address these issues concerning land within the judiciary and NLC? Because NLC also has been accused that has been dealing with influential people vis-a-vis the locals. So a lot of land has been lost to who is who in this country against very local people, the individuals. How do you intend also to address the issue of squatters in this country? Thank you.
You can first take those ones, then we'll go to the second round.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable asked me about implementation of parliamentary recommendations. That is actually what I have been doing to make sure that the executive implements those recommendations. You realize the Auditor General has been churning out quite a number of issues. Then they come to Parliament, they are deliberated, and they lie there in the shelves. But my work has been to bring up to the executive that this was a recommendation by Parliament. If the recommendation was, for example, recover from Susan, has the accounting officer recovered from Susan? And letters have been going round. If the recommendations were the person to be surcharged, so that is taking place, and that is changing the behavior of how parliamentarian recommendations are being looked at. That is being appreciated now as we talk. Suing my employer, yes. Madam Mheshimiwa, I did. And allow me to tell the members that I won the case, but they appealed. And we have done the submissions. We've put up our case again, and we've been told by the Court of Appeal, that the judgment will be out 10th of July. So I don't know, Chair will guide me whether I should go ahead. It's still live in the Court of Appeal.
It was just a confirmation that you sued your employer, and you have confirmed. You may proceed to other matters now that that is alive.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chair. The judiciary and land matters, Honorable Member, it is true, the land judges are quite busy. I used to facilitate them, so I could tell. I had a formula in which I was using to allocate funds in the judiciary. And one of the formula was the case backlog, and I would estimate I had a formula that I was using. And yes, the land judges had a lot of cases. And just when the president nominated me, quite a number of judges who are the land judges congratulated me, but they would put there a statement. Susan, as you go to National Land Commission, please, there is a challenge in the legal department. So, Madam, I can see you are confirming what I was receiving. I mean, Honorable Member, you are confirming the messages that I was receiving from the judges of Land and Environment Court. So if I go there, one thing, Honorable Chair and members, there are 3 nominees who are advocates of the High Court. I'm sure we will work together to see how we will work on this department. But as an accountant, what will I start? I will scan the environment. I will use my accounting techniques to evaluate the cases. High-risk cases, medium-risk cases, and low-risk cases, so that I bring to the attention of these other 3 members to look at them and see. Now they are the experts in that field, but I will try to use my accounting technique to try to help. I will also try to see, is it that the department could be having challenges where cases are, you know, you are being sued, you don't know. National Land Commission is in Nairobi with I think I was reading their strategic plan is when they are opening up their offices in the counties. So you are being sued from Lamu, you are being sued from Mandera, you are being sued from Nairobi, you are being sued from Machakos, and you don't know. So if you approve, members, one of the priorities that I'll give is to engage the judiciary leadership on land matters so that they can sit with this legal department and we see how can we expedite the cases. Why is National Land Commission losing? I told you, Chair, in my introduction.
Chair.
Yes.
Madam Nominee, you have mentioned that NLC is in Nairobi and sometimes you are being sued in Machakos and you are not aware. Are you aware that you have representative in every county? There are NLC offices in every county. Are you aware of that?
I read that, sir, Mheshimiwa, in the strategic plan. They have now localized in every county. They have offices in the 47 counties. But they may not have a system of tracking these cases. I told you in my introduction that my signature is on the e-filing and the automation system that is in the judiciary now. So I will engage so that even the judiciary, because they are ahead in automation, I don't know the level of automation of National Land Commission, so that even the judiciary can just have an alert to the National Land Commission. In the Machakos County, you could be in Machakos and the case is at Makueni, you know, so that they are alerted and they are aware. It could just be a simple WhatsApp message. We see when we are traveling with Kenya Airways that, oh, your flight is being late. It's not so expensive with the advancements that we have in the technology. So we can have an alert from the judiciary that this case has come. That is one of the things, if you approved, members, that I will engage the judiciary to work with, so that we have even just a read-only access to their system that will only be on the land matters. The billion, 26 billion, getting 26 billion, and National Land Commission getting 4 billion. Chair and members, I actually read the budget policy statement that was submitted to National Assembly on 18th, And I saw the resource requirements for the National Land Commission was about 7.7 billion. I saw the allocation was about 3.3 billion. In fact, looking at their financial statements, they are going to get less in the year compared to the current year. So if you approve, Chair and members, I will be back here with the CEO to ask for resource so that we are able to run the programs. I saw their programs, very robust programs, programs that will help them achieve their mandate. So if you approve, for sure, I will be back with the accounting officer to ask this same committee for more money so that the programs that they have lined up is achieved. Cases taking too long, honorable member, that is the mandate of the judiciary, and you are an oversight, Parliament is oversight. I think that should go to the judiciary. Why do they take so long? Is it that you have not given them enough money? Is it that the judicial officers are less? That I cannot help. But I will, if you approve my nomination, work very hard with the National Land Commission to make sure the cases that affect them are worked on fairly and in an expedited way. Addressing national locals, yes. I said I saw in one of their resource requirements, they would want to have those offices expanded. From their strategic plan and from the return, the exit report that I've gone through, the cohort, the commissioners that have just left, it is one staff. And they need to have that office, expanded so that they can be able to deal with the locals. I'm sure in Kwale, wherever, where you come from, Mheshimiwa, we will have the staff if you give us the resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Another set of questions. Honorable Omar Mwinyi, then Honorable Gitari, and Honorable Rachel Nyamai. Start with Omar.
Thank you, Chair. My question is about the style of operation of NLC in the past. The first NLC committee was run in a style of one-man show, where the chairman used to do everything. The second one was actually being run by cliques of commissioners having different interests. How are you going to make sure that once you are appointed as a commissioner, NLC will be one entity with the only ambition and aim of making sure Kenyans benefit from you being there, because you have a mandate that Kenyans expect to fulfill so that at least life can be better. We have had cases of lawyers being paid 350 million, especially during the time when Parliament is about to go for elections. These are, of course, fraudulent payments. How are you going to ensure, as a commissioner, that this kind of decisions, this kind of games are going to be a thing of the past? Because when you're talking about budgets which are not within your reach, yet you are also not talking about you, but the commissions that have actually elapsed are paying where they're not supposed to be paying. And finally, there has been a tendency of past commissions depositing money in fixed deposit accounts and then eating on the interest. How are you going to make sure this is going to be a thing of the past, so that you are an official worth being trusted and of course playing the game the way it is actually expected? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, the monies we are talking about is monies which come to NLC from other agencies like the Kenya National Roads Authority. Okay, those monies for payment of people affected by the project. So that's the money is referring to. Honorable Gitari.
Thank you, Chair. Let me first of all say I'm impressed by the nominee, Chair, because at least she knows her history. It's not written. She was getting it from her head, and having been a teacher. Then she also confirms to me that she's a two-term. So in this lane, I'm happy with her. However, there are two things, clarification I wanted to get from her. One, Chair, about the affordable houses. Chair, there are allegations that the affordable housing program relies significantly on public land parcels in urban centers. I want to know, in your view, what is the role of NLC in verifying the legality of land identified for affordable housing, and how should it ensure compliance with Article 16, 62, and 60 of the Constitution before such allocation? Chair, as I've said, I belong to Institution of Surveyors of Kenya. I'm a surveyor by profession, and we've gotten a memorandum from ISK. And ISK are saying that the 7 nominees, none of them is from the landed profession. I would like to get your wisdom on how do we navigate through that, now that among the 7 nominees, including the chair, we don't have anybody who is a land surveyor, we don't have anybody who is in evaluation and quantity surveying, and how do you think you navigate through the murky waters, bearing in mind this is a landed profession commission to a larger extent?
Madam Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. First of all, Chair, I would like to say that I feel much better compared to how I felt in the morning. And I think that has been explained very well by my colleague seated on my left. And it's good
Madam
when
Susan,
women
switch off your mic.
And it's good when women make it to the hot seat and are able to communicate. Chair, I would like to ask the nominee that you know that you got one more year after your 2-term in your position. And you won, it's your right. But generally, how do you feel about it? You don't have to tell us about the judgment in court, but how do you feel about it as a person, as a professional, that you knew that your term had extended and you sat for 12 months, you earned? How do you feel? Number 2, you are going to an institution of colleagues, and it's quite a collegial body of commissioners. And you are quite outspoken, and you know your rights, as it were, looking at your history. And you may have problems with your colleagues. Will you do the same? Take them to court and make sure you win? Number 3, there are disagreements normally between National Land Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning because their roles are quite intertwined. Do you also expect the same when you realize that the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning has come into your space? Will you also take them to court? Because it is said that you are quite serious litigant. Thank you, Chair.
You take those ones.
Chair, allow me to start with the last one. And Thank you. I just want to clarify on the two-term. I served 2 terms. It is an elective seat at the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya. I was elected as a council member 2014. I came back for re-election and I got it 2017. So I did it from 2014 to 2020, and that is how the two-term comes in. So I served 2 terms at the ISPAC. So in fact, when the Member of Parliament was talking, I thought she was talking of, shouldn't you have gone for chair, because I still have a chance. The 2-term is, you serve 2 terms, and I still can go back as a chair. One day I will. So she connected it with the judiciary, and I would just want to, not going into the merits and demerits of the case, Chair, just go over the facts so that it is clear there is a distinction between the judiciary and ISPAC. If you allow, Chair, I would like you to guide. Okay. So I would like to give just a few facts and background on the case that is in the Court of Appeal. I joined the judiciary from the CVs, you can see members, 2013. As I was joining, the judiciary had challenges, and the chief registrar left with the directors, all the directors, including the director of finance. So the position was vacant, but I was not taken at that time. We were very new, so somebody else was put to act. And as from my CV, you can see, being a very person with a lot of reform agenda, and I was posted in Nairobi as the regional assistant director of finance. So I did a lot until I was noticed by Emeritus Dr. Willy Mutunga, and he appointed me to act. So the one who was acting, it was revoked. I was appointed to act February 15th, 2015. Okay? I would like you to note the dates, members. So come 2015, September 15th, exactly 7 months, I was invited for an interview. So I wouldn't have gone to court that time. I hadn't even done the 12 months that are required by the HR manual. So I did the interview September 2015 as Director of Finance. My employer did not respond, and I continued acting, but I wrote to find out how did I perform. That was towards April 2016. Unfortunately, that very 2016, 2nd of May, the emeritus, Dr. Willy Mutunga, revoked my acting. I had done 15 months. The HR manual was saying 12 months. I didn't take it anything wrong. I went back to my place, picked up the reforms that I was doing in Nairobi region, and continued. But the reforms that I had done, that I had started, had an impact. And unfortunately for me, Willy Mutunga was retiring. June 16th, he was leaving. But before he left, I wrote him an email. He was very good at responding and reading emails. I wrote him an email just to find out what had happened. Okay? So he left. October 2016, we get a new CJ, and that is Emeritus David Maraka. October, he comes in. Notices I am missing. November 2nd, he reappoints me in acting capacity. Of course, he could not appoint me in a substantive. There's a process that the manual has put. So he appoints me again in acting capacity,
And at that time, in 2016, we have gotten funding, judiciary has gotten funding from the World Bank to make its HR instrument or to make its organization structure so that it can work optimally. I'm sure, Honorable Member, when the one who was asking about the backlog, when the organization structure for the judiciary is now at optimum level, the ratio of cases to judges, it will be a game changer, it will be different. So you can see they are recruiting every now and then. They are following that organization structure. So I could not, Madam, Mheshimiwa, go to court at that time, because the report was launched in 2018. Even Parliament was invited by the then Emeritus Maraga. So 2018, they start recruiting now substantive positions, and they start with HR, which was now to do the rest, to implement that report from the World Bank. So 2019, they advertise, I apply, I'm called for interview. I could not have gone to court at that time. I apply, I did the interview, and then they kept quiet. So they fill the two other positions, that is the audit and other positions, so I remain alone. Again, I wrote to my employer to ask the status of my interview. Instead, my employer wrote to me and said, please continue, you are doing a very good job. Continue acting. And all the time, I was being rated exceeding. If it were this system, it would be exceeding expectation. But that time, it was excellent. That was my rating then. So, if we can count, I actually engaged internal mechanisms. I wrote in 2015, in 2016, in 2019. 2020, I now consulted a lawyer, an advocate, who actually wrote again to them. But meanwhile, I am working and I am performing, and my performance is excellent. So, Madam, I actually tried and employed all the internal mechanisms, and when I saw they were not working, and we have a constitution that is so vibrant, that is when I approached the court as the last resort. So disagreements with my colleagues, of course there are times you disagree and you disagree to agree, but it is always good that you consult and work together. As members of parliament, I know nyinyi kupata kura si rahisi. You have what is collegiality as one of the characteristics as members of parliament. Your gates are open to everybody. I can tell you that getting elected 2-term in the professional field, it's not easy. So I am that, just like you, collegiality. Madam, I will talk, I mingle, I will feel free with the 7 commissioners that we are going in with and sort out problems. The one that I went to court, I've explained. I did all I could to avoid the situation, but I had to use the Constitution and go to court as the last resort. Madam, still with you on the question of National Land Commission and the ministry.
There is an intervention from the Vice Chair.
Madam Nominee, how long did you act eventually?
I acted for 7 years.
7 good years.
7 years.
So the matter is still in court?
Yes, they appealed after I had won with the lower court.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just try to be very brief. You don't spend a lot of time. I'm addressing. No, she's coming. She's on.
I started with the last question.
Okay.
The
point of order, Chair.
Okay.
I would like just to request the nominee so that she can always focus on you and not Madam on the other side.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Honorable Nyamai.
And the chair on that note.
Yes, yeah. Just address the chair. Your attention and everything.
And on that note, Chair, let the nominee try to give as brief information as possible.
That's what I've just stated. Okay. Yeah, because you get into problems if you don't do that.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
On the workings with the National Land Commission and Ministry of Lands, I would encourage that we consult, we coordinate the good of the country. So basically, I will encourage consultation and coordination and cooperation with the two institutions. I think I've addressed Honorable Kaki's questions, I hope, Chair. I come to Honorable from Gitari on affordable housing program, the role of NLC in affordable housing. NLC's role is to manage public land on behalf of national government and county government. So these affordable housing are in various counties, and NLC's role will make sure that the due diligence is done, the law is followed in the affordable housing program. If, for example, the land is in Nairobi County, there is a very clear way of acquisition in law, and that will be followed. If you approve, we will follow as the commission. Survey, the petition of survey professionals and the architects, Chair, it is true, the 7 of us, 3 I've said are from the legal and from the finance. We have somebody from HR and then somebody from agricultural economics. But there is a serving member who is an expert in this field. Her term has not ended. It will end in December. She has institutional memory. We are going to sit with her. She's going to walk us through. And in any case, Chair, we give policy direction as the commission. So that is the answer to that member. A style of operation, one-man show, and clicks by the commission. I've said, Chair, that we will consult, we will cooperate, and we will coordinate if you approve if you approve me as the member. Lawyers being paid a lot of money. I said that in my congratulatory message, there was a concern. And as a finance person, and from my introduction, Chair, I said I'm very passionate on prudent, responsible use and management of public funds. These are public funds. So I will put controls if you nominate, if you approve my nomination, in the legal department or the whole of the institution, so that these payments, if they are not genuine, if there's no value for money, I will look at even the internal audit reports. I will look at the external audit reports to see what they are saying. So members, if you approve, know that there'll be value for money for that payment to the lawyers. Money earning interest, fixed deposit, and commissioners, the money for fixed deposits for the PAPs and the money from the entities. As we all know, the law says the entity that is wants to take the compulsory acquisition must deposit money with National Land Commission. So National Land Commission actually doesn't have their money. It is somebody's money. So in their wisdom, if they are put in interest to facilitate them in the execution of their mandate, that is good enough. But as I've said from the beginning, that I will make sure public money, because that money, that interest that is earned is also public money, is used in a prudent and responsible way. I will look at the risks, various risks, I will map them out and make sure that this does not happen if you approve my nomination. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. I think I'll now come to the very last ones before we give it to the Vice Chair, Honorable Major Decor.
Good afternoon, Susan. Good afternoon, Susan. You can answer without looking at...
Good afternoon, Mheshimiwa.
Yes. From, I will ask you on, mine is on the your net worth. First, I congratulate you because I can see you have a long career in this public service, almost 40 years. And much of that time you were in the finance department in terms of being an accountant. From your declaration here, your salary, sources of income, salary is 5.71 million per year. I am assuming is this the current employment you are in. Yeah, so there's also a rent of 2.62 million, bonds getting interest 1.25, dividends 9.88. You have also indicated that you have a house worth 30 million shillings. Where is that house?
Thank you, Chair.
Just answer, because I want to, don't explain, where is the house?
The house is under purchase. I've not yet finished the transaction, the 30 million house.
Where?
In Runda.
In Runda. So it's now worth 30 million shillings?
Yes.
You're getting a rent of 2.6 million shillings a year, meaning 266,000 a month. A house in Runda, or that's where you live?
Thank you, Chair. There's a bit of confusion. Can I clarify? There's a house that I took a mortgage in the judiciary on Rafter Road. That is the one that gives me the rent of 266 per month. But the one I'm purchasing, the contract, we've not yet done. We've not finished.
So as of now, the asset you have is the one in Rafter Road?
Is it Rafter Road?
Giving you worth 30 million shillings?
Yes.
And giving you a rent of 2.6 million shillings a year?
Yes.
Then you have a treasury bonds of 8.7 million shillings.
Yes.
Then your net worth says you are worth 450 million shillings, 1916. Do I assume that the rest of the money, other than the house asset, the treasury bonds, that almost 420 million shillings is in cash form? Is that the assumption we should make?
No, Chair. Can I clarify, Chair?
Please.
I have assets that are in my name as Susan Hakasa Oyatsi, and those assets, part of it is what you have alluded to, the house on Rafter Road. Those assets are 56 million, the ones that are in my name. I have assets that are both in my name and my spouse. That is the house, the matrimonial house that I stay in, and another house in Sifa, and that comes to 31 million. I have assets which I have interest in, but they are in my spouse's name, and those assets are 363 million. So I have arranged them that way. That is the makeup of 450 million. Thank you.
Is it possible to share with the committee all those breakdowns? Because what we have is a general figure that you're worth 450 million shillings worth, and maybe that was, you also need to declare what is your share. The assumption here is your share with your spouse is also declared here. Is it so, Susan?
Yes, because I have an interest in it.
So
it's my spouse.
you declared it here?
Yes, I declared.
Okay, thank you. You will share with us.
So, as per that request, before the end of the day, before we retreat, just make sure that we have a breakdown of that information to assist us in that determination. Honorable Robbie.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Susan Kakasa, how will you deal with the issue of corruption on land matters if you are approved as a commissioner?
So, Honorable Justice.
Thank you, Chair. It's a quick question for the nominee, Susan. How will you deal with how will you handle the political pressure when we're dealing with land matters, and especially knowing that land issues are very emotive? Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair.
Susan, you said you recently worked with the Office of Executive. Your term just ended 28th of February, if I got you right. Was it you retired, your term of contract ended? What happened? Maybe you'll write that down. 2, one of the mandates in NLC is to address the issues of historical injustice. From where you sit, coming from Western, although you have not written here, I assume you come from Western. Do you have issues like that in Western? Where do you think historical injustice issues of land are happening in this country? Thank you.
You may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Chair. There's a question on corruption on land matters. It is true, there's a lot of corruption, and if I may use the term, cartels. One of the things that you use to help corruption is automation. As I explained in detail on my signature being in the judiciary. So some of the processes, if you gave us money, Chair, we will automate, and that will automatically help in the corruption, especially double titling, fake title deeds, all that. Automation is very key on helping. Now, corruption, if it is in National Land Commission, I will report that to EACC to help us with that corruption. And also, as a person at policy level, we will take very firm measures if you approve. Political pressure, yes, land is emotive. Land is our heritage. Land is power. Land is everything. I will use the Constitution and the rule of law in making my decisions if you approve my nomination. Madam Vice, contract ending on 28th, yes. My contract with the executive ended on 28th of February. I had a contract of 3 years, and it has ended. As we talk now, if you approve me, you will be giving me a job. I'll be very grateful. Otherwise, I'm jobless. Historical land injustices, fortunately, in Western, it is not so much, Maybe because of titling. Western, we have titles, but there could be issues here and there. From reading the strategic plan and the exit report, which was on the website for National Land Commission, we have issues at coast. We have issues in the Rift. We have issues in Northeastern. That is where we would, if you approve, put a lot of effort and energy to make sure that these historical injustices are not now repeated in the new era.
I have a follow-up question, Susan.
Yes, madam.
First, I'm happy that you are an FCPA. My colleague engineer seems not to be understanding. He kept asking, are you a CPAK? And you're telling him you're FCPA. It's higher, Mr. Engineer, but we understand, you know, you come from a different profession. I've just logged into ISPAC website, and FCPA Susan Kakasa, right? That's right, yeah? Your membership is 5517. Is that right?
Correct.
And your membership status is active. But your status says not in good standing. What does that mean?
Thank you. I may not be in good standing because of payment of subscription. Executive Office of the President, they pay bulk. So maybe ISPAC has not posted in each individual account, but the payment has been done.
The very last one, Honorable Engineer Zambia.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the nominee talked of, she came up with a policy of pick and do, whistleblowing. Now I thought because we have serious land grabbing in this country, and more probably, if you go and find that you have senior government officials who have grabbed public land, would you be able to do the same do picker?
Actually, I had asked that question, but she did not answer.
Yeah. May you respond to those?
Thank you, Chair. The law that was assented to by the President in October gave National Land Commission powers to grant and look at it. So this is something that will be waiting for us. And if the titles are given irregularly, our National Land Commission should be able to regularize. If it is illegal, then they should be able to revoke. As I said, Chair, I will use the Constitution, whether it is Fatuma, a small Fatuma, a big Fatuma, a big Hakasa or a small Hakasa, a big Akinyi or a small Akinyi, I will be guided by the Constitution to execute the mandate and the laws that follow. So, Madam, the politicians, the land grabbing, we will follow the law. And there are various methods that the law has provided.
So, it was about his insisting on Nduru, but I really want to thank you for being so eloquent in your presentation. I have a few questions to ask, and then after that we'll call it a day. Have you ever been convicted, or have you ever been charged in a court of law, yes or no?
No.
Have you ever been adversely mentioned in Parliament, in any report?
No.
Do you hold a dual citizenship?
No.
So I think, members, with that we've come to the end of the session. We'll retreat to do the report, which will be submitted to the full House for approval or rejection. So we really want to wish you the very best. We want to thank you for your time and also for responding to the concerns by the members of this committee. We have your originals here. Just make sure that you go out with them. And we pray for you. Okay? But make sure that you avail that information which we requested for before the end of the day.
Chair, if you will, just a few seconds. Can I make some few remarks?
Please do.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Parliament, this committee, and the 11th Parliament, the 12th Parliament, who did a lot of oversight on my case in the judiciary before I even went to court. I have members of JLAC who may not have made it to Parliament, but I would like to give them my flowers because of the oversight role that they exercised as Parliament. I have members like the current Minister for Lands, Alice Wahome. When she was in JLAC, she was very vocal on the issue of acting. The current CS for Energy, Wandai, when he was in PAC, he was very vocal. The current CS for Health, Honorable Ndwale, and the former Member of Parliament for, I think it was Kimilili, he was called Dr. Eseli. Very many people, Mbadi, Sakwa, Ojenda, all those members. There are some who are not members of the committee. There are 3 committees that I give them my flowers, and this is the JLAC committee, the Budget and Appropriation Committee, and the PAC committee of the 11th and the 12th Parliament. There were other members who were not in those committees, but they were very, very concerned. That is my member for Parliament, Savula. At that time, he wrote 2 letters to the Chief Justice. Honorable Osotsi, as a nominated member at that time, was very vocal. The member for Samia was very vocal.
That's good enough.
Thank you so much.
That's very
and
good.
thank you, Parliament. I give you my flowers.
Thank you so much. Okay, you may take leave. And Eseli is from Tongareni.
I give him,
constituency. Okay,
I
okay.
give him my flowers.
All right, thank you so much. You may take leave.
Thank you.
Chair.
Asante kwa wazee.
Chair, on a lighter note.
Wale wazee wamekuja na mama.
On a lighter note, the nominee has not even appreciated us for sitting here all this.
I have.
She only mentioned the others.
You know, that's why we
previous.
got...
I have.
No, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, you take leave now. Okay, asante. Asante wazee. Okay, okay. Madam Susan. No. So, honorable members, we have 2 more before we break for lunch. Okay? Yeah, at least we're improving. Too slow, eh? We take 1, eh? We can do 2, eh? But we'll agree that we only filled 5 questions only. Is that okay? Only 5. Huh? Yeah. Lete mwingine nani? Bwana Daniel, karibu. Welcome to Parliament. Welcome to the Committee on Lands. Yeah, so we are running out of time, and we'll try as much as possible to be brief. So we'll do very quick introduction, and then after that we'll give it to you so that you can introduce yourself. My name is Joash Nyamoko. I chair the Lands Committee. I'm a member of Parliament for North Mogrango constituency, and which is in Nyamira County.
My name is Fatuma Jeho, County MP Wajir, and Vice Chair to this committee.
Honorable Paul Katana, MP Kaloleni, member of the committee.
Ali Wario, member for Garsen, member of this committee.
I represent Mgwen constituency. My name is Joseph Lelmengit, and also a member of the Lands Committee.
Honorable Deko Barrow, MP for Garissa Town and a member of the committee.
I'm Matthias Roby, MP Kuria West, member of this committee.
Itare Ashoki, MP for Kirinyaga Central, a member of this committee.
Dr. Rachel Nyamai, MP Kitui South, and member of this committee.
Engineer Zambia, Kalamba constituency, and a member of this committee.
My name is Omar Mwinyi, member for Changamwe and Mombasa County, and a member of this committee. Dr. Chanda Gideon, I represent Bondo, and I'm a member of this committee.
Irene Joki, MP Bahati, member of this committee.
Our lead clerk, introduce yourself on behalf of the rest.
Undali Joshua, committee clerk.
So we are going to administer the oath. Then after that, we'll give you 5-7 minutes to introduce yourself. Our council.
I, Daniel Moredi Muriongi, do swear that the information I shall give before this court on the matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Okay, so just repeat and say house.
Sorry for that.
Yes.
I, Daniel Moredi Muriongi, do swear that the information I shall give before this committee on the matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
You sign the oath. So you switch off the mic first. So I want you to introduce yourself. You tell us your name, where you come from.
Chair, before okay. He does that, something is lacking, but I think they are working on that. I think they are getting tired or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so given to understand that you have circulated your documents, you have handed them over, the original certificates.
Yeah, I gave all the documents.
Including the ID?
Yes, I did.
All right. Yeah, so I just want to give you a chance. These are members of the committee. They are your leaders. And just tell us who you are, where you went to school.
Chair, are we waiting for that, or how are we proceeding?
Which ones, Honorable?
There's something we have whispered to who? There's something lacking, Chairman, and we should have consistency in whatever we are doing.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Proceed if,
no, it's okay, it's okay.
If the
it does not.
Secretary, there's something they know that is missing.
Just go on record and say what it is, so that we can make a decision very quick on our feet.
It's internal. It's internal, Chairman. Something is lacking, and they know.
What is it? Honorable Gitari, if you could approach. Oh. Let's approach the table. Yeah, there are some documents which have not been circulated. It has nothing to do with you, Daniel. So don't you worry, I can see you trying to frisk your pockets. It has nothing to do with you. It's actually our secretariat, some documents. So it will take about yeah, but in the absence of those documents, I want to invite you. I'll give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You introduce yourself to the committee. Tell us who you are, where you went to school, what you have been doing to yourself, and any other information which you'll find relevant to this vetting exercise, or for that matter, National Land Commission. You may proceed. 10 minutes exact.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Mureithi Muriungi.
Move closer to the mic.
I'm closest. My name is Daniel Mureithi Muriungi. I come from Meru County. I was born in a place called Nkobo around 1979 from my young mother who got me when she was 18. So I was raised by my grandparents. She had to go back to school. I went to school, a primary school called Kadela Primary School in 1986. And because of the conditions then, from a single mother who's gotten me out of Wendrock, the conditions were not very good for me to be in a school in the village. My grandmother took me into a boarding school called Wesley Boarding School, which was like 10 kilometers away from my home. That was in 1990, in class 5. So I started boarding school life when I was pretty young, in class 5. I completed in 1993 and went to still a secondary school in Meru County called Kibirisha Boys. I cleared in 1997, that is Form 4. I was admitted to do a bachelor's degree in education, which I was not very happy, because I think around the 1990, when there was clamor for multipartyism, I was very encouraged when I saw the likes of Getobu Imanyala, Keraito Moroge, agitating for democracy. Well, I didn't know what a lawyer was then, but I thought they were doing a good thing. So I had put it in my mind that I wanted to be a lawyer. So when I came to Nairobi, of course, after declining the Bachelor of Education, an uncle of mine took me to Kenya School of Professional Studies. By then, of course, lack of knowledge, we didn't know there was parallel program. So I did a diploma in law. And when I was about to finish, then that's when we realized there was a degree offered in law, but in the evening classes, which I was able to join in 2000 after I, of course, completed the diploma. That's why it's also part of my certificates. I went for evening classes while working through law firms, and I was able to complete in 2007. From there, because I was still working, from around 2000 as a legal assistant, I worked a bit for IBC when there were polls. I also worked as a legal assistant in 3 law firms, Kyogora Mutai and Muriungi and Company Advocates. At that time is when, of course, because I was doing a lot of clerical work in the lands registry, the courts, that's how I got to be picked by Amenasil, still to do legal work as a clerk. Little did he know that I was still in the university trying to do a degree in law. And then when I graduated, he was gracious enough to pay for my Kenya School of Law, and again offer me employment as an advocate in his firm from 2009. I was in his firm and lost all the way to the head of legal conveyancing and property departments, where I had 6 people, 6 advocates below me and assistants. I worked very well in the firm, and again, in his gracious way, he also lets people flourish. He let us go and form a law firm called Sheikh and Company, where I was also the managing partner of that firm until 2020, sorry. And then from 2020, I formed Daniel and Kenneth Advocates, where I am the advocate currently. Well, around the same time, I was running Sheikh and Company in 2015, and enrolled for a master's degree in science. Lawyers only want to do sciences, but I defied the horns. I did a master's degree in environmental management and planning. This is to end my understanding and deeper understanding of the law, because I have all along practiced property law and conveyancing. So I got a master's in environmental planning and management, which led to a certification with the National Environmental Management and Coordination. This is NEMA. I became an environmental impact assessment associate expert, so I'm able to do environmental impact assessments. And within the same time also, I was able to get a certification from the Kenya Institute of Industrial Property, where I am a patent agent. So all this time, I'm in the property industry. I've practiced in the courts, in the ELC courts, and I've also done many projects in terms of a project from inception all the way to the contracting to the sale of either it's the units or just a normal conveyancing transaction where it's a buy and sell, and even where there is syndicated transactions like joint ventures and all. This is the area that I've been able to flourish and do a lot of work for the last, this is now 17 years, Honorable Chairman.
Thank you, Daniel, for the introduction and the information that you have shared with us. I'll now open the floor so that the members can field questions. And honorable members, it's your turn. Honorable Paul Katana.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Daniel, the nominee, thank you for your elaborate statement. In your statement and in your presentation, you are a lawyer by profession, and you have been involved with the land transactions involving billions of shillings through conveyance. Now, if this committee approves you to be one of the commissioners in NLC, is your law firm still active? And would you use your position to continue with your business in land transactions? Because NLC deals with a lot of land transactions through other agencies like Kenya, Kura, Kera. Has your company been involved, or you'll use your company, now that you'll be a chair, to use your position to continue with land transactions? Thank you.
Honorable Dr. Nyamai.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to ask the nominee that you are aware that you deal with banks and huge institutions dealing with multi-billion businesses. And I would like to give you examples. You have a 14 billion aviation security, a matter that you have interest in, 1.1 billion winery joint venture that you're also working on. You're also dealing with a mega project which deals with housing. And you know, when you mention housing, you're mentioning land of over 4,000 units. And you are also involved in being a kind of go-between for companies that are dealing with like debt collection for over 9 billion shillings. And now you're coming into a sector where the same institutions may appear. How will you deal with this as a commissioner? My second question, Chair, is concerns your clients. And some of your clients include banks, National Bank, Gulf of Africa, CDN Bank, Housing Finance. These are the people that you deal with every day. You can maybe share differently if that's not what you do. But the preparations of this committee noted that you are quite involved with banks. And these banks also have dealings with the National Land Commission. How will you deal with what you do every day as a businessman and what you'll be doing as a commissioner in National Land Commission? Thank you, Chairman.
The last one on that set, Honorable Engineer Zambia.
Thank you, Chair. The expertise, the lawyer, the advocate, has said that he has a lot of expertise in conveyancing, environmental law, and procurement. In that case, you must have come across systems where they work or they fail. And in this case, based on your inside experience, what are the top 3 regulated failures, loopholes in Kenya land sector that you believe the National Land Commission must address in case you are approved? And will you commit to using your insider knowledge to close those loopholes, even if they have benefited your former clients in the past?
You respond to those ones first. Bwana Daniel.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chairman, for those questions. I'll start with the Honorable Paul Katana. I run a law firm called Daniel and Kenneth Advocates. If vetted successfully by this committee, one of the first things I'm going to do when I'm sworn in is to resign from the firm. And once I resign from the firm, matters that have been entrusted to me by clients, because legal services, other than it being given to the firm, it is personal to the advocate dealing with it. I will approach all my clients and I tell them, I have gotten this higher calling of public office and now I'm a state officer, and I would want them to either retain the matter in the firm or give those matters to advocates of their choice. Just to put it into context, this is a firm that has 11 advocates and a staff of 25. So if the matters are left there, they will be able to be handled. Or if the client chooses to give the matters to any other advocate, we will be able to release that matter and be handled by that advocate, so that I don't controvert or contradict my law as a commissioner and also as an advocate who has been in active practice. So therefore, I will not be able to transact personal business from the law firm. I'll only be able to have fidelity to the Constitution and the law and serve as an NLC member, because that's what the Constitution tells me to do, that this is a full-time commission and I'm not able to take any other active law or any other business outside the commission. Honorable Nyamai, banks and huge institutions, this is true. Yeah, we are in panels of several banks, National Bank, like you mentioned, Sindian, and a number of others, possibly around 7. These banks have hired the firm as a firm and not myself. Of course, my CV might have enriched the firm in terms of giving the firm business, but I will be able to communicate to them, and the firm will be able to say that this partner has left the employment of the firm, and therefore the firm will continue with those matters as is. Or if these clients would be desirous to send these matters to other firms, if my expertise was so unique that they cannot get it in the firm, then they won't be able to take those matters without a push and pull as to my new law. Of course, debt collection is the same thing. You are often work to collect, and this is for some government institutions where pension is supposed to be remitted and has not been remitted. This is what we are doing. That's why it's a huge figure, because it involves the actual statutory deduction, interest over the years, and interest is always compounded when it's not paid. So some of these institutions will always come and ask for some sort of concessions. But on this also, I will again be able to approach these institutions, and I will tell them I am leaving, so that they will be able to either continue engaging the firm or take those matters to other firms that they feel have the competence to handle the matters in my absence. Then Honorable Zambia, I have worked out here, yes, and I've seen so many gaps and loopholes in the other sides, because there is a saying and a joke that goes on this side of, we call it the bar, where the lawyers say all matters by NLC, you can be sure, going to win because they are either not defendant, or when they are defendant, there is a very weak defense. So therefore, the first regulatory item I would address is to ensure that we firm up, because the law is there, but we make sure that we enrich the legal department. I have looked from their reports that they have around 30 lawyers or so, and 30 lawyers is a big number to handle matters. The issue is whether they are well supervised, whether they are automated, whether when matters are filed, they get to know the matters have been filed, whether service has been done, and therefore automation will equip these lawyers in the commission to be very spot on in terms of defending these matters. Then the other regulatory failure, which are even in the exit report of the outgoing commission, they have tried to show a small disconnect between the commission and the parliament, the ministry, where there is a bit of lack of either information or duplication of laws, or where one thinks they have a law which the other one thinks they don't. So therefore, there's a bit of, in the exit report, they are looking to the amendment of the Land Act a little bit to align those laws. But what I know is that from the National Land Commission Act, Section 17, it calls for cooperation and consultation. Therefore, it is entrenched in law that even without the amendment, we should be able to have a bit of collegiality and cooperation and consultation with the ministry to make sure that no one is taking a firm position from the other. Then the other one is automation. This has been done. There is the public information system, public land information management system by the National Land Commission, and there is a national information land management system by the Ministry of Lands. I think from where I sit, we need to find a way to have these two systems working so that hand to hand, where the member of public sits, they are able to know that they are able to grant and know this is public land, this is private land, other than both institutions having their own systems, which sometimes members of the public may not be able to know there are two systems. I think those would be some of the regulatory frameworks I would think would enrich this commission. And therefore, the last one you asked about the insider knowledge that I have, yes, most of the things that we know from practice that cut across possibly titles that are not okay and irregular occasions, I will endeavor to use this knowledge to enrich the commission in such a way that we have programs and systems in place that will address these things before even they happen. Because from the bar where I sit in private practice, you have your client's title and you want it upheld. But at this point now, it's just to clean up documents, even introduce modern technology to be able to arrest issuance of an irregular document and make us go into too much litigation when somebody is out there with an irregular document. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Daniel. The other set of questions start with Honorable Gitari, then Dr. Gideon, and then Joses.
Thank you, Chair. I think as we progress, normally here, the higher you go, the cooler it becomes, and I think that's how we are going. Muriungi is doing a nice job. Chair, I would like the nominee to tell us, your expertise make you very exceptional as a commissioner, or let it make you deeply conflicted one? The difference lies in your integrity and your awareness. What I'm asking is there anything in your extensive private practice, any transaction, any client, any advice you have given that could be used to question your impartiality if you are confirmed? And are you willing to praise the record today, your commitment that the public interest will always, without exception, prevail over any other form of client relationship or commercial instinct? On the same, having practiced in the conveyancing industry for a long time, I would like to hear your comments on the failures and successes on the Adisasa platform. Are we achieving anything, or are we stagnant, or where are we?
Honorable Chanda.
Thank you, Chair. Two questions, but fairly related. Whether you've had an experience with the claims or awards against public bodies in your practice. What has been the experience like? If it is no, what do you generally think or get to know about? Because I'm connecting this with the second question where you alluded about claims against NLC. And I can tell you, NLC has claims that are close to 1 billion shillings that have not been paid over a period of time. And with that information, what is it that you are able to do or what you can do for purposes of limiting this, including those that are existing? How do you go about handling the 1 billion pending bill to lawyers, not to anybody else, but this is to lawyers?
Honorable Mengit.
Thank you, Chair. On a light note, Chair, I don't know if Mr. Murungi is related to the clerk of the National Assembly. He resembles. Now, now to a more serious question. Now, Mr. Murungi, you do a conveyance. You do conveyance. You make money through deals, land deals, to be specific. And now you are entering into to protect public land as a regulator. Have you ever declined a client or a deal on ethical grounds? And if it's possible, you can give example. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Irene.
Okay. Irene MP Bahati has stated, my question goes to our nominee. You have been a private advocate, and of course, your duty is to protect your client. Here now, your duty is to protect the public interest. Have you ever advised your client in your private practice on how to structure a transaction to avoid regulatory requirement or to minimize the impact of any land law? If so, how are you going to reconcile that with your new duty?
Honorable Robbie, then after that, Honorable Decol.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Murungi, why are you interested to join this National Land Commission? And yet we can see you have big offices. Yeah, where you are busy doing business. Why are you interested to this?
Honorable Major.
Thank you, Chair. Wakili, you alluded to the fact that there are a lot of gaps in your line of duty in terms of land issues between National Land Commission and the Department and the Ministry of Lands and Fiscal Planning. Are there areas in law that you are thinking maybe you will bring to this committee as a commissioner of the Lands Commission so that you seek some amendments in the law itself, that you have discovered the conflicts and the overlaps between the Ministry of Lands and the Land Commission? Secondly, as mentioned by my colleague here, there are a lot of cases that were lost by National Land Commission in courts to the tune maybe around, I think in the documents we have, it's up to about 2.7 billion shillings pending bills, and majority of that money is for lawyers. And you just confirmed that out there you are sure that if the case is between Lands Commission and yourself, you are winning this case. Maybe also if you could tell us whether you have a pending bill with the National Land Commission, and whether in the future, if you occupy this office or you get the opportunity to be a commissioner, whether you will tell your colleagues in the legal industry that there is a new sheriff in town, that there will be no more losses of cases. And if the lawyers with National Land Commission, whether they are employed by National Land Commission, or you can also outsource, so that we don't have this kind of laxity in losing cases. Thank you.
Lastly, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Daniel, from your CV, you have a very impressive CV. And the report we have here indicates that you are a billionaire in terms of the deals you make. So my question is about what motivates you to go to National Lands Commission, whereby you're going to survive on a monthly income, and you're going to regulate, lands in favor of the public and many other issues. You look like someone who have made it in life in terms of the projects and the deals you have made. Thank you.
So, nominee, you can respond to those ones.
Honorable Chair, I will attempt to respond to these questions from Honorable Gitali. Thank you for noting my expertise. You sought to know.
Don't repeat the question. Yes.
Okay. Whether I will be impartial in public interest in this, I will make sure that I will be able to strike a difference between the Daniel Muriungi in private practice, who has been agitating for his clients' rights, and I will be able to take the public interest mantle, be the public trustee, uphold the Constitution, be able to take all the tenets that are articulated in Article 10 of our Constitution, and make sure that this institution gets its continued growing, because it already has growing, so it's just to advance what is already there. Then comments on failures and successes of Adisasa. Adisasa, when it came, it had a bit of teething problems. In fact, to be very candid, the people who opposed it most were the lawyers, the valuers, and the planners, because it was meant to bring sanity in a confused industry, where people would do subdivisions and they are not noted in any of the registers at the Survey of Kenya, where lawyers would pay stamp duty, but even KRA does not have sight of it. There is a lot of success. All these things have been streamlined. Everyone transacting, at least in Nairobi, part of Kiambu, and now going to Machakos, Adisasa has been very successful. Anyone who has run as an Adisasa ID, whether an individual or corporate, and you are able to transact with your ID, and if it is from valuation, transfer, all these matters are done through Adisasa. Even subdivisions, where now we have sectional titles of apartments, all this is on Adisasa. It has largely succeeded, and I think we needed this way earlier, but that has been able to cross the gap that we have. It has failures, of course. It has not been able to reach, it is not countrywide. It's confined on a pilot project in Nairobi, Kiambu, and now Mombasa. partly now going to Machakos. The other failures that we could have is literacy. Not everybody is very literate. So some of these people, their accounts end up being operated by people who are a bit computer literate. Therefore, again, introducing an element of fraud. If somebody is very owned, and some of these properties in Nairobi, Patre, Parklands, Isli, and Kilimani, Kirereshwa, are owned by people who are a bit aged, who are not computer literate. So there is a risk of people who are using those accounts on their behalf and doing something fraudulent. And the way it could be improved, possibly try to include a fingerprint or a thumbprint access to that account for the hinged. That will really work, because at that point, unless somebody now is under duress and a gun is held on their neck, then they will not claim that that their account was used by somebody fraudulently. Then the next question, whether I've earned claims on public bodies. As a firm, we don't have any pending bill with the National Land Commission. We've been able to act for clients who are acquiring entities, and therefore that acquisition has to be done through the National Land Commission. But we have not been in the panel of National Land Commission. We have no pending bill there. And now, if approved by this committee, I will ensure the firm of Daniel and Kenneth Advocates is not enlisted as a service provider for the National Land Commission, even despite my resignation from the firm. What I can do to limit claim, I know the pending bills from the advocates to the tune of $1 billion shillings. There is a room to have a conversation with these advocates if at all they have not taxed their bills. And really what happens is if you've not paid an advocate for some time, they go back to court for court to reaffirm that what they have charged you is what is possibly due. So if there are some who have taxed, then we could have a conversation with them. The others who might be going to the route of taxing their bill, we could still have a conversation with them not to go that route and have some sort of an arrangement, because a debt that is due and owing can be paid with, within a framework on an arrangement of payment. That would be what would come straight on my hand on how to handle these bills. Honorable Emengit, I have no relationship with the clerk of the National Assembly, but I will not want to brief from my father. You've heard what I've said about my past. I was born by a single mother, and from my documentation, you see my birth certificate, there's no entry of my father. So again, there is a possibility. Yeah. Then there is money, whether I've declined money from a client who has brought an ethical deal. Yeah, this happens every day in law firms. Sometimes you find somebody working in your chambers with a title that even at a glance, because from experience, even without a search, sometimes you're able to look at a title and say, there are too many things that don't hand up here. So the first step is to do a search, yourself as the lawyer on record, and then if it's not okay, you tell them sorry. I remember some years back, without mentioning the firm and the names, there's somebody who walked into my office with a file for the Ministry of Lands. Honorable Gitali will know what the PASO file is. Somebody walked with a PASO file, which is a security document for the Ministry of Lands, and said, I have all the documents for the ministry, so from our hand is to just make the documents to our liking, because we have everything. And I was employed, not that I thought this would really change my life, but I told them, walk out of my office. And I walked to my employer and said, this is what your friends have done. And he was like, no, I don't approve of it. And they called the client, and they admonished them, and that is the last time we saw of that client in our office. So I have under situation, and that was life-changing. I was just 3 years in practice, and the monies being mentioned were too much. Honorable Robbie, I am interested in joining this big office because I have wanted to serve the people from a very young age. You've heard my history. When I was in the lower classes, class 5, class 6, that's when there was agitation for multipartyism, when people are fighting for human rights. I felt I needed to be in that space. When I came to practice, I was not able to get the opportunity to be a human rights lawyer, but now with this, I'm able to feel I'm in that space because there is historical land injustices, there is review of grants and dispositions in land, which goes all the way up to 1895. So I feel I'm in a space other than the joy you get when you have money from legal fees, that you have an inner satisfaction that you've helped the community and your country, and you've served diligently without putting money as the pacifier or your interest. Honorable Ndeko, areas that I will seek amendment, I have alluded to this. The Rand Act, from the exit report I have seen from the previous commission, they have alluded to a few gaps where the ministry feels it is their mandate to do, to possibly allocate land, run with all the processes that are there. I know the National Land Commission assesses tax in land when they are doing allotments. They assess the stand premium, and this money is collected and paid to the ministry. So this is where you do all the preparatory works and even tell somebody how much they are supposed to pay, but you don't receive. So we will be coming here possibly if the commission is in agreement to make NLC an entity that can receive and receipt. I think the accountants have better ones for that, so that this money is received by the commission and possibly expended or caters for the deficit of the budget of the commission. Then telling the lawyers whether there is a new sheriff in town, for sure they know. They know that we are 3 of us here. I think the first thing is to, like I alluded to, is to have a very conducive approach to those pending bills. Those that are taxed, we'll be able to know how to handle them. Those that are not taxed, we know how to, because you see, a bill that is pending can always be discounted. I know we have the advocates remuneration order that guides us, but it only gives the lower scale. It doesn't give the upper scale. And some of these fee notes, I believe, are in the upper scale. So we would actually ask them to bring them down to the scale that is prescribed by the advocates remuneration order. And again, to confirm, I do have a pending bill with NLC. And then there is also the lawyers who are employed by NLC, vis-a-vis lawyers who are hired by the commission to give legal service. I think, and a recent decision has alluded to the fact that you can't have a full expertise in a government agency, but you need to look at it and assess the need for it. There are 33 lawyers or so in this commission. I think and I have earned there are 9,000 cases that are pending in the commission. Some of them might be simple matters, other than they are spread across the country in the 47 counties as provided by the NLC Act that the the commission needs to have presence in the 47 counties. It is just a matter of organizing these matters. And you have 33 lawyers even working on 100 cases, and they don't know which one is coming tomorrow, which one do we need to file documents, which one is ready for hearing. Just taking all those cases, putting them in a platform that is IT-based, and mapping them out in terms of which one is due for hearing, which one is due for compliance. I think these 33 lawyers are able to handle these matters, and now we can also assess and do a report and have the need for these other external lawyers for very complex matters and matters that the 33 lawyers are not able to handle. Chairperson, Honorable Joe, why NLC? And they said I'm a billionaire. I doubt I am a billionaire, but amen to that. Now, I have alluded to this and said I've always felt this higher calling. In fact, when I did my master's, I did a report and titled it Enforcement Control in Machakos County, where I felt we have enough laws. We have everything we require, but we have all these institutions spread all over. You have NEMA issuing its license from their offices. You have the county issuing an approval. I felt that we need to bring these institutions together in such a way. I know there is a multi-agency group that handles, but mostly handles disasters. The approval process of all these issues have not been done well. So I felt even after giving that report, which was 2015, and I remember I took it to Honorable the Governor of Machakos, Mutua, to make sure that they consume it. I felt these are script into Nairobi, and my feeling is that enforcement of development control is an item that I need to run with, whether I've done it on this side, but now on the public sector I need to bring my knowledge there and reach it, and I'll be happy as a Kenyan if we have all these controls and we are not stuck in traffic when it rains. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we are coming to the tail end of this session. I'll ask one or two questions. Irene, you have something?
Chair, I don't think he answered my question.
Sorry, Honorable Eileen, I might have. Let me see whether I wrote it.
You've seen it?
Possibly she couldn't, I couldn't address it direct. Sorry for that, my apologies.
Yes, I asked you a question. As a private advocate, your duty lies to your client. Here, your duty now as a commissioner lies to the public interest. Have you ever advised your client on how to structure a transaction to avoid regulatory requirement or to minimize the impact of land law? And if so, how are you going to reconcile that with your new duty?
Okay, possibly I can take that one, and my apologies again for skipping it. We've always, and then when clients walk into our offices, for sure they have no clue of what they want in terms of execution, but they have a problem in their hands. Just to put it into context and to give an example, husband and wife walks into my office, and the husband says, I want to transfer my property to my wife. A normal transaction will take a transfer, they pay stamp duty, evaluation is done. But again, when you look at the Stamp Duty Act, there is a provision for exemption of stamp duty and the consideration is love and affection. I'll be able to tell you, yes, this is how the transaction goes, but you have a bit of reprieve here. You are not going to pay stamp duty. Let me get your marriage certificate, and I run you the process of possibly how not to pay the stamp duty, but it's provided for in law. So that we've been able to structure, and where we have all these transactions where you have to navigate through a myriad of laws to see which suits your client. That we've done not to avoid, but to work with the laws and the systems that are in place to make sure that we give the desired outcome. Now, as a public trustee, being a state officer, it is to ensure that everybody follows the law. I possibly...
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please, Honorable Munya.
Banamrethi, you should actually say if you are appointed, because you are not yet appointed.
My apologies. My apologies for that. Right. My apologies for that. If appointed, and I'm very sorry. My apology again. Yeah, if appointed, I will be able to be a public trustee. I know the high demands by the Constitution, by the National Land Commission Act, the Leadership and Integrity Act, and also the conflict that I might have if such things come to my desk. Otherwise, I will uphold the law and make sure that I strictly follow the law in these matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think I just ask 1, 2, 3 questions. Have you ever been charged or convicted?
No.
Have you been adversely mentioned in any report of Parliament?
No.
Do you hold a dual citizenship?
No.
What is your net worth?
Yeah.
They call you a billionaire. You said you're not very sure whether you have hit the mark.
Yes.
So what's your net worth?
Yeah, I've listed many places I have interest, but to sum it up, my net worth is 300 million.
What are your current or anticipated sources of income?
Yeah, I have 2 sources of income, possibly current and an ongoing. I have some interest in an airline, so that is an interest. It's through shareholding, and then the other interest I could have is unpaid bills from the law firm, which I think I'm entitled to because they were billed and work done, possibly before I get this confirmation. Thank you.
Okay, honorable members, I think we have come to the end of the session. I'll give you a minute, only a minute. You just make your last remarks. If there's anything you want to tell the members of the committee, it's now your opportunity to do that. Just 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity. I will thank the committee for their dedication in this process. One notable item that this committee has delivered is the amendment of the National Land Commission Act, Section 15 and 16, on historical injustices. This is one item that we need to learn with now that it was the Act was amended in 2025, and the review of grants and dispositions of titles, taking it back again to the colonial times. Those are areas that are dicey. I believe the members of the commission and guided by the chairman, if given this opportunity, we will be able to navigate through and make sure that we handle them to the best expectation of the Kenyans. Also, the other item is the Conflict of Interest Act, which was also passed by the current House. It gives us guidance on where not to step on and on how to do things in the event that we feel we are conflicted. This time there is a law that is governing that process. so that it's not very amorphous and subject to a court process. Otherwise, I thank you so much for this opportunity, and I will be happy to get this position if you get me successful.
Thank you so much. We really want to wish you the very best. We are going to process the report based on the engagement we've had, and then it will be subjected to the House for approval or rejection. So that's the honors of the entire Assembly. But we really want to wish you the very best. I think we've had a very good engagement, so you are discharged.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair and members. Thank you.
Thank you. You'll take your documents and make sure they're all together. You don't lose a piece of it. So, honorable members, that's now the third person. We have a decision to make, whether we should proceed or we break for lunch. For those who are fasting, they are saying...
Chair, we can...
Okay.
Chair,
we can break for lunch.
Wanataka kuswali, alafu we can still proceed
So
up to 7 p.m.
We can, we'll just agree on the time. Right now it's 2 actually. So we can break for 30 minutes or 45 minutes if you so wish. 30 minutes. So we'll be back by 2:30. Okay? Thank you so much.
the HR manual was saying 12 months. I didn't take it anything wrong. I went back to my 12 months. I didn't take it anything wrong. I went back to my place, picked up the reforms that I was doing in Nairobi region, and continued. But the reforms that I had done, that I had started, had an impact. And unfortunately for me, Willie Mutunga was retiring. June 16th, he was leaving. But before he left, I wrote him an email. He was very good at responding and reading emails. I wrote him an email just to find out what had happened. Okay? So he left. October 2016, we get a new CJ, and that is Emeritus David Maraka. October, he comes in. Notices I am missing. November 2nd, he reappoints me in acting capacity. Of course, he could not. Second, he reappoints me in acting capacity. Of course, he could not appoint me in a substantive. There's a process that the manual has put. So he appoints me again in acting capacity. And at that time, in 2016, we have gotten funding, judiciary has gotten funding from the World Bank to make its HR instrument or to make its organization structure so that it can work optimally. I'm sure, Honorable Member, when the one who was asking about the backlog, when the organization structure for the judiciary is now at optimum level, the ratio of cases to judges, it will be a game changer, it will be different. So you can see they are recruiting every now and then. They are following that organization structure. So I could not, Madam, Mheshimiwa, go to court at that time, because the report was launched in 2018. Even Parliament was invited by the then Emeritus Maraga. So 2018, they start recruiting now substantive positions, and they start with HR, which was now to do the rest, to implement that report from the World Bank. So 2019, they advertise, I apply, I'm called for interview. I could not have gone to court at that time. I apply, I did the interview, and then they kept quiet. So they fill the two other positions, that is the audit and other positions, so I remain alone. Again, I wrote to my employer to ask the status of my interview. Instead, my employer wrote to me and said, please continue, you are doing a very good job. Continue acting. And all the time, I was being rated exceeding. If it were this system, it would be exceeding expectation. By that time, it was excellent. That was my rating then. So, if we can count, I actually engaged internal mechanisms. I wrote in 2015, in 2016, in 2019. 2020, I now consulted a lawyer, an advocate, who actually wrote again to them. But meanwhile, I am working and I am performing, and my performance is excellent. So, Madam, I actually tried and employed all the internal mechanisms, and when I saw they were not working, and we have a constitution that is so vibrant, that is when I approached the court as the last resort. So disagreements with my colleagues, of course there are times you disagree and you disagree to agree, but it is always good that you consult and work together. As members of parliament, I know nyinyi kupata kura si rahisi. you have what is collegiality as one of the characteristics as members of parliament. Your gates are open to everybody. I can tell you that getting elected 2-term in the professional field, it's not easy. So I am that, just like you, collegiality. Madam, I will talk, I mingle, I will feel free with the 7 commissioners that we are going in with and sort out problems. The one that I went to court, I've explained. I did all I could to avoid the situation, but I had to use the Constitution and go to court as the last resort. Madam, still with you on the question of National Land Commission and the ministry.
There is an intervention from the Vice Chair.
Madam Nominee, how long did you act eventually?
I acted for 7 years.
7 good years.
7 years.
So the matter is still in court?
Yes, they appealed after I had won with the lower court.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just try to be very brief. You don't spend a lot of time. I'm addressing, no, she's coming. She's on.
I started with the last question.
Okay.
The point of order, Chair.
Okay.
I would like just to request the nominee so that she can always focus on you and not Madam on this other side.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Honorable Nyamai.
The Chair, on that note.
Yes, yeah, just address the Chair, your attention and everything.
And on that note, Chair, let the nominee try to give as brief information as possible.
That's what I've just stated. Okay? Yeah, because you get into problems if you don't do that.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
On the workings with the National Land Commission and Ministry of Lands, I would encourage that we consult, we coordinate, and we work together for the good of the country. So basically, I will encourage consultation and coordination and cooperation with the two institutions. I think I've addressed Honorable Kaki's questions, I hope, Chair. I come to Honorable from Gitari on affordable housing program, the role of NLC in affordable housing. NLC's role is to manage public land on behalf of national government and county government. So this affordable housing are in various counties, and NLC's role will make sure that the due diligence is done, the law is followed in the affordable housing program. If, for example, the land is in Nairobi County, there is a very clear way of acquisition in law, and that will be followed. If you approve, we will follow as the commission. Survey, the petition of survey professionals and the architects, Chair, it is true, the 7 of us, 3 have said are from the legal and from the finance. We have somebody from HR and then somebody from agricultural economics. But there is a serving member who is an expert in this field. Her term has not ended. It will end in December. She has institutional memory. We are going to sit with her. She's going to walk us through. And in any case, Chair, we give policy direction as the commission. So that is the answer to that member. A style of operation, one-man show, and clicks by the commission. I've said, Chair, that we will consult, we will cooperate, and we will coordinate if you approve if you approve me as the member. Lawyers being paid a lot of money. I said that in my congratulatory message, there was a concern. And as a finance person, and from my introduction, Chair, I said I'm very passionate on prudent, responsible use and management of public funds. These are public funds. So I will put controls if you nominate, if you approve my nomination, in the legal department or the whole of the institution, so that these payments, if they are not genuine, if there's no value for money, I will look at even the internal audit reports. I will look at the external audit reports to see what they are saying. So, members, if you approve, know that there'll be value for money for that payment to the lawyers. Money, earning interest, fixed deposit, and commissioners, the money for fixed deposits for the PAPs and the money from the entities. As we all know, the law says the entity that is wants to take the compulsory acquisition must deposit money with National Land Commission. So National Land Commission actually doesn't have their money. It is somebody's money. So in their wisdom, if they are put in interest to facilitate them in the execution of their mandate, that is good enough. But as I've said from the beginning, that I will make sure public money, because that money, that interest that is earned is also public money, is used in a prudent and responsible way. I will look at the risks, various risks, I will map them out and make sure that this does not happen if you approve my nomination. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. I think I'll now come to the very last ones before we give it to the Vice Chair, Honorable Major Decor.
Good afternoon, Susan. Good afternoon, Susan. You can answer without looking at...
Good afternoon, Mheshimiwa.
Yes. From, I will ask you on, mine is on the your net worth. First, I congratulate you because I can see you have a long career in this public service, almost 40 years. And many of that time, much of that time you were in the finance department in terms of being an accountant. From your declaration here, your salary, sources of income, salary is 5.71 million per year. I am assuming is this the current employment you're in. Yeah, so there's also a rent of 2.62 million, bonds getting interest 1.25, dividends 9.88. You have also indicated that you have a house worth 30 million shillings. Where is that house?
Thank you, Chair.
Just answer, because I want to, don't explain, where is the house?
The house is under purchase. I've not yet finished the transaction, the 30 million house.
Where?
In Runda.
In Runda. So it's now worth 30 million shillings?
Yes.
You're getting a rent of 2.6 million shillings a year, meaning 266,000 a month. A house in Runda, or that's where you live?
Thank you, Chair. There's a bit of confusion. Can I clarify? There's a house that I took a mortgage in the judiciary on Rafter Road. That is the one that gives me the rent of 266 per month. But the one I'm purchasing, the contract, we've not yet done. We've not finished.
So as of now, the asset you have is the one in Rafter Road?
Is it Rafter Road?
Giving you worth 30 million shillings.
Yes.
And giving you a rent of 2.6 million shillings a year.
Yes.
Then you have a treasury bonds of 8.7 million shillings.
Yes.
Then your net worth says you are worth 450 million shillings, 916. Do I assume that the rest of the money, other than the house asset, the treasury bonds, that almost 420 million shillings is in cash form? Is that the assumption we should make?
No, no, Chair. Can I clarify, Chair?
Please.
I have assets that are in my name as Susan Hakasa Oyatsi, and those assets, part of it is what you have alluded to, the house on Rafter Road. Those assets are 56 million, the ones that are in my name. I have assets that are both in my name and my spouse. That is the house, the matrimonial house that I stay in, and another house in Sifa, and that comes to 31 million. I have assets which I have interest in, but they are in my spouse's name, and those assets are 363 million. So I have arranged them that way. That is the makeup of 450 million. Thank you.
Is it possible to share with the committee all those breakdowns? Because what we have is a general figure that you're worth 450 million shillings worth, and maybe that was, you also need to declare what is your share. The assumption here is your share with your spouse is also declared here. Is it so, Susan?
Yes, because I have an interest in it.
So
it's my spouse.
you declared it here?
Yes, I declared.
Okay, thank you. You will share with us.
So, as per that request, before the end of the day, before we retreat, just make sure that we have a breakdown of that information to assist us in that determination. Honorable Robbie.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Susan Kakasa, how will you deal with the issue of corruption on land matters if you are approved as a commissioner?
So, Honorable Justice.
Thank you, Chair. It's a quick question for the nominee, Susan. How will you deal with how will you handle the political pressure when we're dealing with land matters, and especially knowing that land issues are very emotive? Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair.
Susan, you said you recently worked with the Office of Executive. Your term just ended 28th of February, if I got you right. Was it you retired, your term of contract ended? What happened? Maybe you'll write that down. 2, one of the mandates in NLC is to address the issues of historical injustice. From where you sit, coming from Western, although you have not written here, I assume you come from Western. Do you have issues like that in Western? Where do you think historical injustice, issues of land are happening in this country? Thank you.
You may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Chair. There's a question on corruption on land matters. It is true, there's a lot of corruption, and if I may use the term, cartels. One of the things that you use to help corruption is automation. As I explained in detail on my signature being in the judiciary. So some of the processes, if you gave us money, Chair, we would automate, and that will automatically help in the corruption, especially double titling, fake title deeds, All that, automation is very key on helping. Now, corruption, if it is in National Land Commission, I will report that to EACC to help us with that corruption. And also, as a person at policy level, we will take very firm measures if you approve. Political pressure, yes, land is emotive. Land is our heritage. Land is power. Land is everything. I will use the Constitution and the rule of law in making my decisions if you approve my nomination. Madam Vice, contract ending on 28th, yes.